Okay, good evening, everybody. Okay, let's get started. Parshat Vayakhel. You have to forgive me for the sheets. Maybe it doesn't. Anyway, not important. Let me just get to number one. Number one is two pieces from Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky on the Parsha Vayakhel. And first, he deals with the anomaly of the opening pasuk. Vayakhel Moshe es kol adas b'nei Yisrael. Vayakhel. So why is it, he made a kahil? He brought all of Klal Yisrael together. There's not, the only time that in the Torah that it says Vayakhel. There are other times that he might have spoken to Klal Yisrael together, but there seems to be an emphasis here on kahal, on bringing Klal Yisrael together. There seems to be a necessity to bring Klal Yisrael together as part of the message that he's going to give, which is the building of the Mishkan, donating to the Mishkan, right? But somehow this has to deal with the concept of Vayakhel, of bringing everybody together. Okay, so let's see what he says. Ha'egel haya ha'hepech shel matan Torah. The egel was the 180-degree opposite of the moment at Har Sinai. In what way? Ki b'matan Torah, when the Torah was given, Amr Chazal say, Vayichan Yisrael Ki'ish echad b'leiv echad. The Klal Yisrael was in, it's actually in the singular, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, Ki'ish echad b'leiv echad. The Klal Yisrael was like one person with one heart. There was a tremendous unity of Klal Yisrael. V'kan amru b'Yerushalmi, but now, right, after the Egel, so the Gemara Yerushalmi says, is an amazing Gemara, Ki Yud Beis HaGolim Nasu V'omru Elo Ve'avu Le'elohus Harbe. It's an amazing Yerushalmi. There wasn't just one Egel Azav, but there were 12 Egel Azav. Every Shevet made an Egel. Now, we have to understand that the making of the Egel Azav is complicated, right? In a sense, it's avodah zarah. It was a turning from Hashem. They couldn't wait a couple of hours, but they desperately wanted an intermediary to help them. There was a need. They felt that they had no ability to lead themselves, and they needed something. So each shevet, they all had their own makeup and their own direction. So each shevet immediately made their own egel, right? So that's a dangerous moment, right? When the unity of Klal Yisrael in a matter of hours was dissipated with 12 different approaches to avodah zarah. V'hari matzinu Elohei Moav, Elohei Edom, Ukedoma. You see many gods of different nations. V'hari rak Elohim acherim. Kilomar koach echad lekol umah. You didn't have this kind of nonsense. So we really took it too far. Well, it's clear that amongst the tribes already there was machlokas. There was machlokas. B'mi yivcharu. Who's going to be chosen? V'lo bo lidei ichud. There was absolutely no unity. V'asa kol shevet Eloha la'atzmo. And every shevet made their own god. V'hainu egel miyuchad l'chol shevet. Lefichach, therefore, Kishaba Moshe has here as Yisrael al Mishkan. So now Moshe is coming to present the Mishkan to them, the Mishkan, which is going to be the antidote for the Egel Azav, to bring us back, to bring our focus back to Avodas Hashem, right? Haisa Avodaso Rishona Lahakilasam. So the first thing he had to do was bring them together. Vayakhel Moshe. This is part of the tzivui of the Mishkan. Vayakhel Moshe. That he brought them together into a kihila, lahakilasam, kilomar laachedotam b'mokem echad l'mator achas. So this is not a random statement in the Torah of Vayakhel, and the uniqueness is because it's really part of the message of what was necessary after the Egel. We were so divided. We always speak about unity. You know, why can't we all get together? And unity is an important thing, and we always speak about it, but anybody living today, in the last 4 months, 5 months, in the last 2 years, you don't have to be a brain surgeon. Listen, lo novi ani velo chacham ani. I'm not a prophet, and I don't give reasons for why things happen. But you don't have to be a brain surgeon to see that the tremendous machlokas, the lack of unity in Klal Yisrael the last few years, with this whole reform movement of the judicial system, which was really a front to change the dynamic of Eretz Yisrael, that it should be a nation amongst the nations rather than a Jewish state and Am HaTorah, Eretz Yisrael. This was really what was going on, and what is still. And we would hope that when the tragedy struck, what we're dealing with now, we would hope that the unity would maintain itself. There was tremendous unity the first 2 months, but lo aleinu, it's all come back. It's coming back in terrible ways. The lack of unity, and really, I don't want to say it. I can't say it. That this whole thing came about because, among other things, the tremendous lack of unity that was the machlokus of Klal Yisrael was really almost like the historical period of Hanukkah, right? The enemies of Hanukkah were not the Yevonim, they were the Misyavnim. They were the Jews who turned to Yavon for their philosophy. So, again, I'm not saying that this is the reason nobody could say that, but you have to have blinders not to see that this is some kind of a major contribution to what we're the tragedy, the Eis Sar Yaakov that we're dealing with today. So Moshe Rabbeinu saw that right away, and he, but Vayakhel. Second piece from Yaakov. Here's Rashi. Rashi says in Vayakhel, Lemachras Yom Kippurim. This was the day after Yom Kippur, Kishiyored Minahar, when he came down from the mountain. Be'emes matzinu b'Gemara, the Gemara in Sanhedrin talks, ki gimel mitzvahs nitztavu Yisrael b'chnisos l'Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara tells us that the 3 mitzvahs that Bnei Yisrael were commanded to do when we came into Eretz Yisrael. Lahamid lahem melech, the appointment of a king, the coronation of a melech Yisrael. Lahachri zaro shel Amalek, to destroy the arch enemy of the Jewish people, Amalek, which represented everything that was opposite of Torah, morality and ethics. V'livnos beis habechira, and to build a beis hamikdash. Now, so building the beis habechira, and the forerunner of the beis habechira is the Mishkan that Bezalel built. Moshe Rabbeinu built with Bezalel, right? It was the last in the pecking order. It was number 3, right? Melech, Amalek, Mishkan, beis hamikdash. V'ilu kan, what do you see here? In preparation for going into Eretz Yisrael, Moshe doesn't. What does he tell them? Anu roim shemiyad shenimcha lehem al ma'isa egel. When the Bnei Yisrael were forgiven for the ma'isa egel, we spent some time discussing that last week. Nitztavu al binyan mishkan. Immediately, the order was reversed, and the third item on the pecking list became the number 1, numero uno. Ulechura yesh kan shinui b'seder. Why? Why was the order changed? It's a Gemara, right? V'nira shahatam hu gufa mishum chet ha'egel, because of the chet ha'egel. This is what was necessary now. Sha'achar sheyardu madrega, when Klal Yisrael dropped dramatically in their spirituality, b'madrega heru keshehem nimtzaim b'li roeh, they didn't have a shepherd, they didn't have a leader. Lizman muad, for such a short period of time, miyad heim boim lidei machshava shel egel. They immediately went into an avodah zarah mode. Bahai time, and because of this reason, after the tshuva, utzruchu leMishkan, there was necessity to have a Mishkan. Shemi yitztarchu lihispalel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a place to come and daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to offer karbonos to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to embrace HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yimtzu mokam sheyuchol litkasher imo, where they can have a relationship with the Rebbeinu Shalom, which is, I always say, the purpose of our existence in this world, to develop a meaningful personal relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what Torah is about. That's what mitzvah is about. But our purpose in this world is to embrace the Rebbeinu Shalom, to surrender to Him, to have a relationship with Him, and from that relationship comes all of the other things that we're supposed to do, right? Kemosha Amar Shlomo HaMelech B'Tfilaso, where Shlomo said, "V'yispal alecha derech arza." Only here in Eretz Yisrael, only via the Mishkan, only via the Beis Hamikdash. So the order was changed for a reason. Okay. The next piece is from my Hebrew Sefer Kanfei Yonah, And we have Shabbos in this Parsha, and we also had Shabbos last week in Kisisa. But there is a subtle distinction between the presentation of the mitzvah of Shabbos in Kisisa, maybe not so subtle, and the presentation of the mitzvah of Shabbos in our Parsha. What's that? So here we have the pasuk from our Parsha. 6 days we do malacha, ubiyom hashvi yelechem kodesh Shabbos, Shabbaton, Lashem kol ha'oseh malacha yumas. So here we have the mitzvah of Shabbos as it's given. Incidentally, we spoke about this about a month ago. Very important, you saw it. The mitzvah of Shabbos was given Sheishis Yom Ta'aseh Melacha Ubiyom Hashvi Shabbos. What is Friday? What does the 6 days of the week have to do with that? So we exhausted that topic, if you remember, the importance of Erev Shabbos, why we begin Kiddush Friday night, Yom HaShishi, Vayakhel Hashemayim. So I'm not going to go back to that issue. We discussed a major mimer from Rav Hutner on this. But here you have Shabbos. Now, the Parshas Vayakhel, we write, Mitzvah HaTorah al Shmira Shabbos lifnei shehi mitzvah al Hakamas HaMishkan. In our Parsha, when Moshe starts gathering us together, first he gives us Shabbos, then he goes to the Mishkan. Amnam. The Parsha Kodemet, in last week's Parsha, in Kisisa, Mofiot Shtei HaMitzvot B'Seder Hafuch. The order of Shabbos and the Mishkan were in the opposite direction. First we had the Mishkan last week, and then we had Shabbos. So here we quote the Chassam Sofer, Masbir, Zos Bekach Shematoras B'niyas HaMishkan. What's the purpose of the Mishkan? As we just discussed a moment ago, Haisalatzur Mokom Shabo Yuchlu Klal Yisrael Lechaper Avonosehem. To create a physical place and space in our world where we can come and look and find atonement from our averas al yedei avos hakarbonos, by bringing karbonos. Amnam, truth be told, a Mishkan haya mesugal atzmo lahavia latach lezeh rak kodem chet ha'egel. The truth is the Mishkan was supposed to serve this purpose before the chet ha'egel. La'acher shechatu klal Yisrael, after we sinned, bechet ha'egel, v'avdu avodah zorah, and we worshipped avodah zorah. However one you look at it, even if you're saying that the Ramban said they were looking for some kind of leadership to fulfill what Moshe wanted to do, it's already avodah zorah. Nobody asked them, right? Once you do something out of the box, that's avodah zorah, right? Avodah zarah, right? The purpose of life is avodat Hashem, serving Hashem. The moment you step out of the box, it's avodah zarah. It's the total opposite of avodas Hashem. Lo yochlu hakarbonos lechaper. Karbonos would not help. Shekein avodah zarah omedes benigud muvhak lavodat hamishkan. Avodah zarah stands opposite of the avodah in the Mishkan, as we just explained. Avodas Hashem, avodah zarah. In the box, out of the box. Complete opposite. Ketzad yuchal hamishkan lechaper al avon shemit nagesh et etzem kiyumo. How can we restore our spirituality after we've done something that is totally 180 degrees opposite of what was our whole existence, what we're supposed to be? Zos hasiba sheke'et la'acher chet ha'egel. That's why after the chet ha'egel, I use haisa haTorah tzricha lahakdim et hatzivu shel shmir Shabbos. So therefore, after the chet ha'egel, we dealt with Shabbos, then the chet ha'egel last week. Now we do tshuva, and now we begin with Shabbos. Shabbos is the answer. L'shmira Shabbos yeshno hakoach hamiyuchad lechaper afilu al avon avodah zorah. Shabbos has the power to atone for even the extreme avodah zorah. Kifi shemevur begemor b'mesechus Shabbos. Quotes the Gemara in Shabbos. I quote him. All right. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Kol hameshamer Shabbos kehilchaso. Whoever keeps Shabbos properly, afilu ovid avodah zorah kedor enish mochin. Even if he worshipped idols, like the generation of Enosh, right? He will be forgiven. Rak la'achar shabo Shabbos. After Shabbos came, and we're given the mitzvah of Shabbos as a kapara, Yachol haya Mishkan lasot et avodato, so the Mishkan can now do its function, its kiyum. Ulechaper al shar avonosem shel Klal Yisrael, to atone for the rest of the sins of Klal Yisrael. Now, really, let's talk a little bit about that. Why? Why Shabbos? Why does Shabbos have this power? What is inherent in Shabbos that makes it, a quid pro quo to Avodah Zarah? Shabbos represents everything in the Torah, so it can do away with all of Avodah Hashem, right? So it can do away with Avodah Zarah, which is the antithesis of all of Avodah Hashem. How does that work? Why Shabbos? Right? Again, Avodah Zarah, the opposite of Avodah Hashem, right? So let me explain. I might have many years ago explained this, but I think this is very important and very, very, very yesodistic to what we're talking about. There's a concept about Shabbos called Me'ein Olam Haba. Shabbos is Me'ein Olam Haba. Shabbos is a taste, a foretaste of Olam Haba, of the Olam Hayemes, of the world to come, right? Right. Olam Haba, where do we, if you want to test the veracity of a point in Hashkafa, you have to see how it plays itself out in halacha, right? So where does this concept of Shabbat me'ein olam haba, where do we live this out in the halacha of Shabbos? Where do we see this? Where do we see Shabbos is me'ein olam haba, right? We see other concepts, right? Where is it? Not in Kiddush. In Kiddush. It's not in Shachris. It's not in Musaf. Where do you have the concept of Shabbos me'ein olam haba? You know where you have it? Anybody know? You all know. In benching. In Birkat HaMazon. Harachamanu Yanki Lanu Yom Shekulo Shabbos Umenucha. Why, of all places, is it in benching? Why is it in that mitzvah of Birkat HaMazon, which, by the way, is one of the only two brachas that are d'oraisa, right? Birkat HaMazon and Birkat TORAH are all the other brachas that we make, the 100 brachas we make a day, right? They're d'Rabbanan, right? So why, dafke, in the mitzvah of benching of Birkat HaMazon, do we have this concept of Me'ein Olam Haba? What is Olam Haba? What is Olam Haba? Olam Haba, we strive in this world to be B'nei Olam Haba, not B'nei Olam Hazeh. We do our mitzvahs, we learn Torah. We're working towards a goal after 120 years, 120, at least 120 American years, not Canadian years, right? And that's our sense of arrival, right? We've arrived. Olam Haba, that's it. Everything we've done, everything, there's a famous story, the Vilna Gaon, the great Vilna Gaon had a sister, came to visit him. They hadn't seen each other in 50 years. And she came to see him, and he sat down with her and he says, I love you, I miss you, but listen, that's it. We have plenty of time in the Olam Hayemes to get together. We have work to do here. Now, you'll tell me that the Vilna Gaon was the classic Litvak, right? That's where's the warmth? But we have business, we have work to do here. In the Olam Hayemes, we're going to sit together. Don't worry, we'll be together. We'll be together, right? It's a sense of arrival, meaning that when we have mitzvahs in the Torah, so now how is Shabbos me'ein olam haba? How is Shabbos me'ein olam haba? Right? We work very hard to prepare for Shabbos, right? Erev Shabbos, right? Erev Shabbos, no matter how short, how long Erev Shabbos is, we never have enough time, right? And we're not as good at Erev Shabbos as we were 100 years ago. I heard from two Gedolim, I heard from Rav Pam, and I heard from Rav Soloveitchik that what this door is missing is not necessarily Shabbos, right? It's Erev Shabbos. The feeling of Erev Shabbos is missing, right? So we prepare everything for Shabbos. Shabbos comes, what's Pshat? I can't do this, I can't do that, no, that's not the Pshat. I've arrived. It's a sense of arrival. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I have everything I need in the Kedusha of Shabbos. It's not I can't do that. I don't have to do that. That's a sense of arrival, right? I always give the mashal, you want to take your family out for dinner and to your favorite restaurant that the kids love to go to, and you're going to go out, if you're living in Chuslar, Sunday night, right here, there's no such thing as Sunday. Them out, there was a special birthday, somebody graduated from yeshiva, something, and you're going to take them out to their favorite restaurant. So the whole day, nobody ate. They limited what they ate for breakfast. They get into the restaurant. They all order what they want to order. They have a tremendous meal, and they're sitting back there stuffed. And all of a sudden, their next door neighbor shows up at the table next door 2 hours later, right? And they are going through the menu and they're ordering food, and you can't even look at what's happening. Not that it's any of your business, right? But you're never going to eat for the rest of your life, right? Then you get home, and a couple hours later, maybe whatever you're doing, hopefully you're sitting and learning a little bit, right? Saying some Tehillim, having a conversation with you, learning with your children, whatever you're doing, right? All of a sudden you go take a walk into the kitchen, you open up the fridge door, and you're a little bit hungry, you're looking for something to eat, right? You go into the bread box, you go into the cakes room, right? Why is that? Because eating, benching, the mitzvah of eating and benching is temporary. It's like, I'll never eat again. Not going to happen. It's me'ain. It's a me'ain. It's not really fulfillment. I've arrived. I'm so full, I can't eat anymore. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. There used to be once saw somebody had a T-shirt that said, I can't believe I ate the whole thing, right? But 5 hours later, you're starving again, right? Because it's a sense of false arrival. Eating all of our tithes, all of the pleasures, the physical pleasures that we run after are like that. But eating is the primary example, right? So benching, when we finish eating, right? That's me'ain olam haba. It is a taste of the world to come. It is a sense, a temporal sense of arrival, right? Arrival in the sense that we've come to complete avodas Hashem. We've come to the olam ha'emes. We've come to the embrace of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We've embraced him. We have surrendered to him, and he's embracing us. That's olam ha'emes. That's the world of truth, right? That's what Shabbos is. That's the point here. That's the point here of why Shabbos is mentioned in between. Last week's Parsha, Shabbos, then the Egel. Here here it's Shabbos, rather the Egel and Shabbos, and here it's Shabbos and then the Mishkan, right? Because we need the Shabbos to correct ourselves. Okay. Now I added in on this page, before we get to the final piece on the other page, I added, because I didn't think I'm going to have enough time tonight, so I added this on the right side, number 3. This is from Sefer Ayeles HaShachar. Ayeles HaShachar, a few times we've used Ayeles HaShachar. Ayeles HaShachar is Rav Steinman, Zecher Tzadik V'Kodesh Livracha, who passed away a few years ago, on Chumash. It's an amazing sefer. It's an amazing sefer because you see that there's nothing he didn't know. Everything that he brings in here, I mean, it's just an who live in Netanya, in McDonald's. When I came to McDonald's for the first time, the shul on the Beis Medrash, I saw on the shelves 2 complete shelves of Ayeles HaShachar, like multiple copies of Ayeles HaShachar. So I asked Dr. Feinberg, he should have refuah shlema. Yitzchak, I don't know if you're here tonight, but we're all davening for you. But I asked him, why is this? He says, well, for 2 years, Rabbi Katz learned from beginning to end, between Mincha and Maariv, the Sefer Ayeles HaShachar. Right? Now, if you know Rabbi Katz, I mean, most Rabbanim between Mincha and Maariv, they'll learn a Mishnah here, a Mishnah there, a Halacha, Mishnah Brura. His SHIUR between Mincha and Maariv very serious. But to take Ayeles HaShachar and go through from the beginning, that's hello davarhu. But I just want to read a little piece from Rav Sternbach on this, on the Parsha, and it'll dovetail with what we're going to see afterwards. Bezalel was chosen. Bezalel was the leader. Moshe chose Bezalel and somebody else from the Shevet of Dan. Bezalel was from Yehuda, the highest spiritual madrega of Shvatim, and the one he chose from Dan was the lowest Shevet, right? So, but why was he chosen? Lahoros nasan libo, belibo. He gave him the ability lahoros, to teach. It's pasuk. Hakavana shenitan lo siyata d'shmayim yuchedet lahorot. That he was given by the grace of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, siyata d'shmaya, the ability to teach. He had to teach. He had a lot to teach. He had to teach people how to. This was really a technical school. beyond to teach people how to build a Beis Hamikdash, how to do the carving, how to do everything, right? Not Parsha, but it's much more than that, because it wasn't just the physical ability. There's tremendous Kabbalah. Everything in the Mishkan and what the Mishkan was put together is based on our Kabbalistic teachings, right? There's a lot of hidden stuff here behind the Me'achorei Pargu, behind the mask of the Mishkan. In any case, he had the ability to teach. Va'evan Ezra Mefarish, and this is a fascinating point he's bringing out. Yesh chachamim rabim shehem kashim lahoros acherim. There are many chachamim, there are many great scholars who have trouble teaching. They don't have the ability to give over. The OUisrael HaKodesh says in this week's Parsha, Sheyesh chachamim rabim shetiyeh chachmasam belibam levad. They had it in their heart, the chacham, they couldn't get it out. Shelo yodu l'lamdam, they did not know how to teach. So he was given the ability to teach. And we see many times, you can have someone that's a great scholar, a great Rebbe, a great whatever, and someone, you love him, he's a role model, but I can't go to his SHIUR. I don't understand what he's talking about. He can't, Rav Steinman said it, the Orach Chaim said it. I want to tell you that Moratz Chias has a very famous essay, and when he speaks, and Amoraim, some of them knew Tanakh, were expert in Tanakh. Some of them didn't know Tanakh, right? Talking about Tanoi and Amoraim, so complicated, right? Hina Yadu B'Shem Hagon Reb Chaim Brisk, quoting the Brisk of Reb Chaim Soloveitchik now. Shechisoren b'hasbara zechisoren b'avona. The truth is, he says, that if a person lacks the ability of explaining, of hasbara, right, it's a chisoren in understanding. It means they don't fully understand it, right? They're a daring thing to say, but Rav Chaim Soloveitchik said it. Amnam b'divrei mashma sheyesh kazeh mitziut sheyodea heitev, a person could know kol Torah kula. Umikol makom kashlo lamed la'acher, but it's difficult in teaching other people. Okay, he says there's other terutzim. He says v'od acherim mishmo kisheyesh kama terutzim al kushas. Some people say in the name of Rav Chaim they add a PS. If a person has a number of answers to one question, they're weak. It means he doesn't have the real answer to the question, right? When there's one answer, the tirutz is strong. Now, yesh la'ayin b'Shabbos, but he says, brings the Gemara in Shabbos. There's another side to this coin. The Gemara in Lamed Gimel in Shabbos, when Rashbi and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair, when they came out of the Mara, this is Lag Bomer, right? If you want to remember where this Gemara is, it's on the 33rd daf in Shabbos, which is the story of when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai came out of the cave, right? So, B'Mara Hayarashbi Maksha Kushia Achad, he would ask a question in the cave, and Rabbi Pinchas Ben Yair, his Talmud Mitaras Yud Beis, he had 12 answers. When they came out of the cave, Pinchas Ben Yair Maksha Kusha Achas, he would ask one kasha. Virashbi and Reb Shimon Bar Yochai would be Mitaras 24 answers. All right, Harsheyesh Ma'ila Baribu Terutzim, he wants to say. There is having a number of approaches to things. That's a good thing too, but there has to be one particular, answer, right? We don't pluralism as a social contract is a very dangerous thing to Jewish people, to Klal Yisrael. Pluralism is a very dangerous thing. Right? There can be many different approaches to things, but some people believe, Nebuch, in our age of assimilation, that there were three mountains that the Torah was given on. There was the Orthodox Torah, and the Conservative Torah, and the Reformed Torah. Each were given on a different mountain. So we know, there's one Torah. Pluralism is a dangerous concept when it comes to religion, right? All Jews are Jews, without a question. But philosophies, that's a totally different story. It might be a philosophy, but can we call it Yahadut? We know that's the problem. Anyway, he writes at the end, sometimes even if a person knows something, lo yuchal hasbira b'sfasav, he can't express it, can't articulate it. It's not clear in his mind. Gemara in Tainus. If you see a Torah scholar whose learning is like hard, like iron, like Bishvil Mishnaso She'eno Sadur Olav, his Mishnah is not clear, or just over the line with Pirusha Mashma Shechisorin Bahasbara, Yesh Ketotza Mechisorin B'Talmudah. Again, if a person has a problem expressing it, if I can't express it right, it means I don't know it enough. And I have to stop myself, and I have to tell you, come back tomorrow, and I'll give it over to you properly, hopefully. Okay, let's go. The final page. This is from Rav Mordechai, Rav Druk. We've seen him a number of times this past year or two. One of the great Magidim in Yerushalayim, in his Sefer Dorash Mordechai. I think his son is still, as long as the Rav of Rechavia. But in any case, Vayomer Moshe al Bnei Yisrael Ru'u Kikora Hashem b'Shem Bezalel Uri ben Chur Lamata Yehuda. I chose Bezalel to build this Mishkan, right? Quotes the Gemara in Brachas. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, there are three announcements that God made in the world. Three and only three. He made three announcements of what's going to be. Ve'eluhein, Rav, there's going to be, throughout world history, famine. V'sova, there's going to be plenty. Uparnas Tov, and there's going to be good leadership. There are going to be good leaders. Rav, and then the Gemara quotes Sukkim, right? And the Gemara brings Gemara Mevia Kedei Levasemet Ha'emra Legabi Parnas Tov. I cut this out. He brings Bezalel. Bezalel is the example, the prototype of a Parnas Tov, of a great leader. So he asks a question. Tzarech bir v'havana. We have to understand why. Eza raya mi Bezalel al Parnas Tov. Where do you see that Bezalel was a Parnas Tov? That he was a great leader. Tzlum matzinu sheBezalel haya Parnas o Navi. He was not a leader. Israel, he never took a position of leadership with Klal Yisrael, official political position. Amnam zocha la'asas es ha-mishkan b'chochma, but he was zocha to build the Mishkan with the chochma, the wisdom, shakadosh Baruch Hu konana oto, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed him with. Ulam gam zeh hayel zman mugbal, but this was not forever. He did his job, and that was it. Went back to the Beis Medrash and sat and learned, right? This is not hanhaga. Hanhaga, leadership, a person is a leader throughout his life. Keitzad Eifo lomeret b'kan hagemara shel mani go parnis v'od parnis tov hari mani kefia mekubel atzlenu umuchrach hador. How is this for us? Parnis for us, mochiach hador, someone with profound charismatic influence on the Jewish people. Mashpia, a mashpia, an influencer, a malamed, a great teacher of Torah. Masbir umored aderech, someone you can go to. He tells you how to. He advises you what's the best way to take in life. He knows you, and he steers you in the right direction. Nichnas yotze ubol letoch ha'am v'horasu psakim. He's totally enveloped in the needs of every individual and the nation as a whole, both private and public. Right? Noseh v'nosen imam v'alav gam liyoth b'misrato shanim rabot, many years. But here, Bezalel, he put together the Mishkan, and that's it. So he has two answers to this question. Now, maybe you might have another answer or two. We certainly have one answer that we went through a moment ago, Lahoros, that he was given the bracha of being a teacher, the ability to teach, but it was only a limited Masechta. It was the Masechta of the Beis Hamikdash that he taught, right? It wasn't called Torah Kula, right? So number one, he says, just two indications of what a leader is supposed to be. The next paragraph. Nira shebetzalel haya nechshav parnis. I'll tell you why. Dine kasher anu mevakshim bevirchan hamazon al binyan Yerushalayim. We're talking about benching tonight. It's the second reference to benching. What do you say in the bracha of Bonei Yerushalayim, the bracha for Yerushalayim? Anu mevakshim, we asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the middle of the bracha of Yerushalayim. Avinu, Ra'enu, Zunenu, Parnasenu. Why are we asking Parnasenu? To be mefarnes us. It's not just talking about Parnasa. You're talking about leadership, Parnasa, direction. Madua kanu amakam levakesh Parnasa. Why here are we asking for Parnasa? Harayanu be'emsa bakosh al binyan Yerushalayim v'amikdash. We're talking about the building of the Yerushalayim and the Beit HaMikdash, right? Al binyan Yerushalayim v'amikdash, right? So what does that have to do with Parnasa, with being mefarnes Klal Yisrael, right? Ella mishum shahapasuk kimigdal reif. The pasuk says that the Eretz Yisrael Torah is like a tower around our neck. Nemar al Beit HaMikdash, that's the Beit HaMikdash, is like it's everything. It's the kashem shahat savar umakom hachayim laadam. The throat, the neck is the source of life. It brings together the moach, the body, the physicality, the spirituality. Kol hashefa ba'olam yoredu magia derech beis hamikdash. Everything, all the direction we have in this world, comes through the derech of the beis hamikdash. Right? The beis hamikdash is parnasa. The real parnasa of Bnei Israel is from the kedusha of Yerushalayim. It's the source of bracha. The portal from heaven of bracha is Yerushalayim, and more specifically, the Makom HaMikdash, the Beis HaMikdash. Everything comes from there, right? That's what Bezalel was busy doing. Bezalel was chosen, Liyot Ha'ish, Asher Yivneh HaMishkan, Mishkan Hashem, which is the basis of the Beis HaMikdash, right? Ish kazeh chayav liyot mitzuyad b'tchunot na'alot shel leiv tahor v'zach. Such a person, he's building a place now which is going to be the source, the portal of all bracha, of shefa bracha that's going to come from Shemayim, is going to come through that Mishkan, through the Beis HaMikdash. He has to be someone who is pure. Be'echrech chayav haya la'avor et hamivchan hazeh shel kishron hashutfut. And he has to have, one second, I think, did I skip? I think I left Levakish Parnasa. No. We're good. This is answer number 2. Okay, so number 1, he is bringing up, he's building the place which is, not only in a physical sense, in a spiritual sense, bringing all the Ruchnis into the world. That's the portal, right? Secondly, he says, Bezalel was chosen to do this, so had to be pure, Mishkan Hazeh, Shel Kishron Hashutfut, partnership. In other words, a parnas, number 1, hits the bullseye. A real parnas hits the bullseye. The bullseye is the Beis Hamikdash, is bringing Shefa Hashem, creating an opportunity and opening up windows and doors to bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu, TORAH, into the world. Bezalel had that in spades. He's bringing the Beis HaMikdash, right? But secondly, it's not about me. He had partnership. Shutfut. L'chein bachanoto, Hashem tested him. Kishetzireh balav et Aholiav ben Achisamach mimateh Dan. Who's his partner? His partner was from the lowest tribe of the Shiftei Koh of the Bnei Israel. B'kach nivdeka midat yechalto la'avod b'shutfut. He saw that he could work with shutfus. It wasn't about me. La'avod Hashem l'shma, to work for HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'shma, kasher avar mivchan shel shleimus, azai hichriz HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'karo b'shmo shel Bezalel hu parnis Taub. That's why he was the parnis Taub. The example that Shas gives, when the Gemara tells HaKadosh Baruch Hu decrees 3 things: famine, right, and sova, and a parnis. The example of parnis is there are psukim for what the famine is and what the plenty is, but for parnis it's Bezalel. Who mesugal liot manig the Yisrael. Shehu hora ba'atzmo ledorot. He created something for the eternality. Ad bias goel, right? More than that, the third Beis Hamikdash will be after Mashiach comes. So Bezalel brought everything, this world and the next world, right? Shal manhigim la'omar b'nisoyin shal midas ha'ishtatfut. But it was also with hishtatfut. with not being alone, with working with somebody else. He's going to build this great thing, this great temple, right? He can't do it alone. So this is a beautiful idea. He ends with a maisa. Okay, beautiful maisa. Mesupar ki harav mipanovich, the Panovich Harav, nasal lechutz laaretz legayes ksafim lemana yeshiva. We know the Panovich Harav traveled all over the world to raise money for the Panovich Yeshiva, right? And he was an enormous Talmud Chacham and a tremendous speaker, tremendous, captivating speaker. Haya noem bechesed elyon ubemesiras nefesh amal legayes ksafim avura yeshiva. And he, the building of the Panovich Yeshiva was nothing short of a miracle. He was asked, I think, somebody asked him, "Are you going to build a yeshiva here?" They were walking in the grounds of the yeshiva. He said, "I'm going to build a yeshiva here. It's going to be at least 500 Talmidim in the yeshiva today. How many thousands are there? And here's going to be a Beit Yaakov for the girls. And we're going to have families for Kolel, people who are learning Torah, and for the Rebbeim and Talmidei Chachamim. We're going to have a whole kiryah." Right? So the person said to him, Panovich Harav, he said, you're dreaming. He said, "I might be dreaming, but I'm not sleeping." Famous story of the Panovich Harav. So here he's in Chutz Laaretz collecting money. V'harav miPanovich nichnas lachat mibati knesset Bezor, and he was invited to one of the shuls to speak. Kimuvan shemiyad kibdu laseit et dvarav. As soon as they saw the Panovich Harav, they said, "Get up, say whatever you want." Right? Be'emsa SHIUR, he was giving a shiur, and then he would make an appeal. Nizdamein l'sham gam Rosh Yeshivas Nevardik. He saw the great Nevardika Rosh Yeshiva from Yerushalayim come in at the back of the shul. Kasher Rosh Arab miPanovich nimtza gam hu kan yoda hi hasikuyim shelo lihitarem avur yeshivato klushim. The Nevardika Rosh Yeshiva was a smart man, and he figured out that Panovich Harav was going to be raising a lot of money for the Panovich Yeshiva this morning, right? Shekain Harav miPanovich bipikuto harbe, with his brilliance, yada la'asot malachazu ne'emana. The Nevardika Rosh Yeshiva knew that this was the Panovich Harav. This was one of his fortes, right? Gamar Omer Belibo. Even Shekfar Nichnas Yishaer Od Acharei SHIUR Vazlam. I'm going to stay for the shiur. I want to hear the shiur. I know what's going on, but I want to hear a shiur. Damuto. Shock. The shock of the Nevardika Rosh Yeshiva. The Siyum HaShiur. When he finished the shiur, Ne'eman HaRav miPanovich V'amar, the Rav got up, he finished the shiur, and he said, Nimtza Imanu Rosh Yeshivas Nevardik. The Rosh Yeshiva of Nevardik, the great Yeshiva of Nevardik, is here with us today. Uhigia gan legayes ksafim avur yeshivato. He came to this country to raise money for his yeshiva. Ani makir et Rosh Yeshiva ve'talmidim. Talmidei, I know the yeshiva, I know the Rosh Yeshiva, I know the students. Ve'hem muflagim ma'od, they're brilliant. They're off the charts. Mitzvah gedol azor lehem. It's a mitzvah to help them. And I'm now raising money for the Nevardika Yeshiva. On that day, he raised a fortune of money for the Nevardika Rosh Yeshiva. Rosh Yeshiva in Nevardik, the last paragraph, Nisar Kulo. He was aghast. Panal the Rabbi Panovich V'shalo. It was Rav. Halo Ba'atem Legayes Safim Avur Yeshivas Panovich. I know the desperate situation of Panovich. You have 1,000 Talmidim. Umadua Hidramtem et Hatzibur. Lemani, for me, Leman Yeshivati, Shivla Rav Mipanovich. Anibati Heina Legayes Ksafim Leman Limud TORAH. I came here to raise money for Torah, for learning Torah. Uma Hachiluk Ben Limud TORAH B'Yeshivas Panovich or B'Yeshivas Nevardik. What difference does it make to me if it's Yeshivas Panovich or Yeshivas Nevardik? Osim Nachat Ruach Lifnei Hashem. This is what Hashem wants. Umali Hechen Yilamdu Torah. Zuhi Dugma Leparnas Tov. That's a Parnas Tov. Okay? All right. Okay. Thank you all.